Oh, I didn't mean for that to come out.
You thought we were
I
not
heard it.
recording yet?
I was like, just one more breath before we start.
You could have more breaths while we record, just so you know.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
Keep going.
I forget how this works. I'm
Ah,
like really upset. I'm gonna cry. Maybe not really gonna cry, but can I just tell you why I drink? I know you haven't even gotten a word in, but it
yeah.
happened
Are you?
about 5 minutes ago, and I'm like so angry. Leona's birthday party supplies just arrived. They're like I literally bought all these very hungry caterpillar birthday supplies, and they were at the front door in this huge box. I was like, finally, they're here. Her birthday's next week. Some man I see on the Ring doorbell walks up with a cigarette and a baseball cap on, fucking picks up the package and just puts it in his truck and drives away. And
Yeah.
Blaze like walks right out and is like, what the fuck? The guy had to like unlock our gate. Like it wasn't, sometimes packages get stolen if they're just kind of like tossed where people can reach it.
Right.
He just waltzed right up the stairs, right up to the porch, right in front of the Ring doorbell, just fucking picked up this massive package, waltzed right away, all her birthday supplies in it. Like hundreds of dollars of birthday supplies. I'm like, that asshole's gonna open that box and be like, all these hungry caterpillar napkins.
Yeah. They're gonna have the nerve to.
Congratulations.
He's gonna have the nerve to say, "I don't need any of this," and then just throw it away.
Put it in the trash, and I'm gonna be fucking pissed because that
There's
was very
nothing-
expensive, and now I'm not gonna get it in time for her birthday, and I'm freaking out, and I'm so mad. I'm so mad. What kind of an asshole sees a box? It says it has a pink flamingo on it. It says Oriental Trading Party Supplies. Who the fuck do you think you are? What do you think is in there? An iPad? I'm gonna kill him.
It sounds like someone who probably doesn't have kids who doesn't know what Oriental trading is.
He's gonna learn, okay?
Yeah.
He's gonna learn the hard way because there's all sorts of fun stuff in there.
You know, nothing makes my
mad.
blood boil more than, I don't know what the right word is for them, but like the package thieves. Like
the audacity, as you just told me, I have the audacity as I started my audacity. They have the fucking audacity. Like fucking grow up.
it also like let's acknowledge the fact that it also feels so fucking violating.
It's
like,
so violating. You're totally right, especially when you watch them do it and you're like, I can see you.
Yeah, it's the not even giving a shit. Like, I know I'm stealing from you. And
you
like,
can see me, I don't care.
But also, I mean, it does. I mean, there's a huge difference between like an actual burglary or a theft inside your home
invasion.
But like,
yeah.
they're only one door away, you know, and it
right,
gets,
true. They're on your property. They walk up to your door. They're
taking your shit without
your stuff.
It feels like there's nothing that freaks me out more. Like I have like the Ring doorbell app and like the Neighbors app and all that where you can watch.
Yeah.
And every fucking time I watch someone's package get stolen, it's not even my package, and I feel violated for them.
It's so violating, and like, there's nothing you can do. I mean, last time this happened, somebody called the police, and because a neighbor saw it, and so that was delightful to come home and have the police on my porch. And they had stolen. What did they steal? It's so hilarious what they stole. Oh, my body scrub. I was like, okay, you stole my body scrub from fucking Ulta. And then the time before that, they stole my new fucking meditation journal, and I was like, yeah, you better fucking use it, asshole. Maybe you'll learn a thing or two.
I've heard that a few people are stealing Amazon packages now because they have like that affiliate program, and so they resell them on Amazon.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
So I'm sorry, but he's making hundreds of dollars off your hungry caterpillar.
I'm really upset. Like, I'm looking at what I ordered.
I would be.
The cutest shit. I ordered little stickers. I ordered little strawberry plates. I ordered like a big 3-foot hungry caterpillar for Leona to sit next to. I'm really mad now. I don't know what to do.
Can any of it like be like Amazon Prime to you in the next 2 days?
I'll try, yeah.
Can you call?
I'm sorry to be a bummer.
No, I'm trying to problem solve with you. Can we call them and like say like how much would it cost?
I wonder if
a rush.
Yeah, maybe I'll try that. That's a good idea. I'm gonna send you.
Do you want me to call?
Well, obviously, I'm not gonna call anyone, but I'm gonna send you a picture of the little apples that I ordered that are gonna go in the goodie bags. They're little felt apples. I mean, what an asshole. And they're these little tiny felt apples and they go inside the little goodie bags
Let me see.
with a little caterpillar bouncy ball and some
Oh,
stickers. I'm like so mad. Anyway, it's so
I would be
dumb.
pissed. And no,
It's just
I
like so
honestly,
infuriating.
I wouldn't even be, I mean, I'd be mad at first, but then when I like sat with it, I would just be really sad.
I
So
think that's what it is. I get mad when I get sad, so I think that's what it is. I'm like, really, like
it's
people
the,
just, and they unlock the gate. Like it's one thing if you just reach over and grab it, which like has happened, but like to walk all the way up the walkway, up the stairs,
it's
onto
so
the
intentional.
porch. Like I could just whip open the door, and I mean obviously I
Hmm.
didn't. Anyway, okay, I'm sorry for getting all worked up.
No, it's a it's very valid reason to,
But I was so worked up that I realized how thirsty I was, and I went and got a bunch of water because I think I was just
oh,
like,
good.
so at least I'm following your orders.
Well, yeah,
Um,
everyone, this is your weekly reminder to stay hydrated.
mhm.
And Christine, if you need help after we record, we can hunt the interwebs together and collect everything and get it
Aw,
shipped to
we can
you.
look on Craigslist for free, like the free section, see if
Yeah, see
they're
if
just giving away like party supplies.
did you at least get his face on the camera so you can like
He just
post?
looks like a cranky old white man with a baseball cap, so it's really hard to see because he has that hat on and he's smoking a cigarette, so it's his face is kind of covered.
Mm.
So not really, but one time in LA, a package got stolen and the guy just looked directly into the camera and like did a little wave. And I was like, that is next level, like cruel. Like, fuck
It's
you.
so fucked. And you know what? One of the I'm this is knock on everything because I don't want to all of a sudden give myself a weird twist of fates. But um other than I know the roaches are like they're not bad these days, but I know the roaches is like an obviously serious problem in my apartment
Right.
building. But other than that, like I pretty much have a great apartment, and like I'm so lucky that like all the neighbors on our floor and like in our building, like I've never had to worry about packages being stolen. I've never
That's
had,
really nice.
and so I like there have been this is not good, but there have been multiple times I've accidentally left my keys in my fucking door, and
Oh, wow.
people have just knocked on the door and opened it up and been like, "You forgot these," and just like threw the keys into the apartment and closed the door. And it's only
You
happened like
gotta
two or
love
three
that.
times, but I know that like currently at least my apartment is like a very safe place, and I torture myself by going on like the neighborhood apps and all that.
Yeah, ignore those neighbors who have a
But
shitty time. Just
as
embrace your
someone
good time.
who's like it's not like a currently very serious thing, but as someone who's flirting with the idea of moving one day,
Oh,
like
yeah.
I just torture myself because I'm like, oh, one day I'll have a standalone house and, anyone could just steal anything. It freaks me out. It totally freaks me out. Like
That's what all the technology's for, you think, and then you put it up and they just wave at it and walk
yeah,
away, but yeah.
yeah. Ugh.
It's only
Anyway.
slightly infuriating.
I'm
Not
sorry,
I'm not
Christy.
not mad. I'm just
Just,
disappointed.
I'm not, oh, woof. Yikes.
Woof.
Well,
Anyway.
anyway.
That's
Hmm.
my day. How are you?
I'm okay. I am currently on a new anti-anxiety
That's
medication and
right.
it's going okay, but the side effects are really messing with me. Which
Yeah.
usually I've been a person who anytime I start a new medication, I'm very lucky and have never really had any side effects. And so this is one of the first times I'm having to deal with this. It seems to be
Mhm.
only anti-anxiety medication is the stuff that gives me side effect problems, but
It makes sense. I
um
mean, they're very potent.
yeah. Yeah. And the I was having like a lot of nausea at the beginning of this week, but now I'm uh the thing that really freaked me out yesterday was that it actually gave me really bad heart palpitations.
Oh,
And
yeah, that's not good for you.
so I don't know if that's a side effect and it's going to go away and then I'll be fine, or is that like something that would become a daily issue, in which case like I'd
Right.
like to end this because it was
Yeah,
like
you don't
going
have room for
it,
that.
yeah, it was like fighting against the propranolol, which usually keeps my heart rate slower. So it
Uh-huh.
was beating out my propranolol, and I had to take double the propranolol just to calm down my heart. and it was just like a
That's like when I
weird.
used to take Zoloft, it made me I mean, I take Zoloft now and it works great, but back like when I first started taking it, it made me like so drowsy and sleepy and brain foggy. And then my doctor was like, "Oh, well, that's why you take Wellbutrin, because then it helps you." I'm like, "Wait, so now we're
Oh
just
my
like
god.
stacking, you know?" But it worked really well at the time. I mean, sometimes you just need to tweak, but yeah, I feel you, man. That is never
The
fun.
the brain fog is like really crazy. I mean, I'm always like I've had brain fog before, but this is wild. Like I've been having to like stop everything I'm doing for like 30 Mississippi seconds to figure out a word. Like it's
Oh no.
so I just feel like I'm like I don't know. I'm like
Well,
all out of
that feels
sorts.
like what happens when you get like mom brain is what they call it. When you like
Oh,
have a
really?
kid, you're like, wow, I just like can't think of a word all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's
Does
not a
that
fun
go away
feeling.
or do you still have it?
Mine went away pretty much, but apparently they actually have studied this, as far as I know. Don't quote me on this, everyone, but I'm pretty sure they've done a study that proved that your brain matter after pregnancy, like your brain matter, literally changes like for
Oh,
permanently. Like your brain
oh,
changes forever, and not
oh,
necessarily in a bad way, but it like just
but
changes
not
your
in a good way.
whole. I mean, I don't know, maybe a good way. I have no idea, but it just apparently like changes your whole setup. I don't know.
I mean, everything
That's what
else
I've
about you
read.
changes, so makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised, but
Oh,
anyway, well,
anyway,
I'm glad you're safe and happy, and I hope your keys are not in the door.
my keys are not in the door.
Not to give
That
you like an
happened.
additional anxiety.
That happened enough times that we don't do that anymore. Anyway,
Good. Good.
so let's begin. Shall we begin?
Let's begin.
All right. So I have a short story for you today, but
Ooh.
it's a nice little urban insert lore here so Blaze can laugh at how often I say
Haha.
lore.
Legend?
Um urban legend. Yeah, I don't know. I actually don't know if it's an urban legend. You tell me at the end of this. Okay.
Okay, I'm sure I'll know. Not.
This is the story of the Catskills Crone.
Catskills Crone. Sounds like an urban legend, but what do I know?
Have you ever been to the Catskills?
I've not. Have you?
No, but I've always wanted to.
I have too, weirdly. I don't
It
barely know
sounds
anything
so
about them.
it sounds like she but a lodge, but it's the
Sounds
mountains, but it's
yes.
yeah.
Yes. It sounds like a
I know
wonderful, like, escape, you know?
I know a lot of older Jewish families go there, so
Yes.
I
That's, like,
feel
where they
like
have the, and Miss
it's a good
Maisel.
yes, it's a good time. It's a good
I
time.
watched that and was like, "Why don't I get to do that? That looks fun."
I
Maybe
yeah,
we can have a retreat there, Em.
anytime you say retreat, I'm usually for it. Yeah.
I love that we just say that word sometimes because we know the other person will go, "Yes."
Yeah. Like the
Sometimes I
second
just
you
want
say
you to agree
retreat,
with me.
I'm more inclined to say immediate. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Exactly.
So here's the thing: this story was told almost from like a first person perspective, so we don't know the name of one of these people. Would you like to come up with a name, Christine, and just kind of let's work with that?
Sure. Let's go with, Marcel.
Great. So the story takes place in 2016, and there's a guy Danny, and there's his friend Marcel.
I was like, "If you just change his name to Danny, I'm going to kill you."
Yeah,
I
no,
thought you changed it. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me right now?"
no. The source I read it from, I never once got the other person's name, and I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm just gonna keep saying his friend for the entire thing.
Okay, I like it. Danny and Marcel.
Danny and Marcel. So they're in the Catskills, which is for people who don't know, it's a mountain range in New York, and it includes the Catskills State Park, and it's I think like 1,000,000 acres. I think it's like 700,000 acres.
Oh, geez.
It's a big place, so we're gonna have a long retreat there. And the Catskills are it's an area that has a lot of caves and like you'll love this countless abandoned mines from when it was
Yes.
a busy mining
Retreat,
town.
retreat, retreat.
So I'll take care of the resort and you go into the
I'll
mining
go
caves.
into a mine.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
um and then the Catskills are not just like a popular summer destination, but it has a long history of hauntings and strange phenomena and there's the local lore says that there's like haunted locations, there's like sacrificial cultish spaces where people have done rituals.
Mm.
There's stories of witches and cryptids. So I'm probably I could probably do a whole episode on the Catskills. But oh, fun fact. Washington Irving, who is the author of Sleepy Hollow, he
Mm.
was inspired by the Catskills. He said that they bewitched him as a boy.
Oh, I like
Ooh.
that. That makes me want to go more.
Well, so that's the scene I've set for you.
Love it.
And now enter Danny and Marcel.
Mhm.
So they're hiking and they went to check out a cave that was off trail. And in this cave, there was evidence of a fire, that like a recent fire. So they
Oh,
knew someone
shit.
had exactly. That's what I would have said.
Bingo, bango.
And so they go to this cave. They see that there's recently a fire, so they know somebody has been there not too long ago. And yet they still go in. I feel like
Mm.
this is about to be a story of like mishaps of like why like you had evidence to not do this and
Like
then you
what
did
not
it.
to
So
do in this situation. This is like me going, we should keep checking it out. And you're like, absolutely not. We're going
right,
back to the resort.
right. That happens quite a lot in this story, it seems.
Sounds familiar.
And so Em and Christine, I mean Danny and Marcel, they go looking around anyway, even though it's clear someone's been there. And near one of the cave walls, they find this piece of wood that has been like whittled and carved into the shape of a human.
Ooh, creepy.
You're on the right track. So this carving was enough of a human that it had eyes whittled into it, and each of the eyes had 3 nails driven into them.
Ew.
And the body was very old looking. The nails were very rusty, but what was brand new was a rope that had been fitted as a noose around the doll's neck.
Oh, no.
So Danny said, hey, this reminds me of like some sacrifice shit. Like this looks like a part
Hey,
of a
you know what
ritual
this
or
reminds me
something.
of?
Nothing good.
Satanists.
This feels like part of a ritual and I want nothing to do with this.
Mm-mm.
So insert me thinking again, why would you do this? Marcel goes, I don't care that you want nothing to do with this. I want to bring it home.
Yeah, I'm Marcel in this scenario. Got it.
Yeah. So pretty much right away, things go funky.
Uh-oh.
The friend starts, oh, not the friend, sorry. Marcel starts having.
I have a name.
I have eyes and a heart.
And 3 nails in them each.
Marcel starts having trouble sleeping, and
Uh-oh.
he starts having trouble sleeping because there is a mysterious banging that keeps waking him up.
Huh.
And whenever he would wake up from this banging, there would be a very intense smell of pond water.
Oh, that's very strange.
Yeah. Which is like, I'm such a dumbass because all my brain can relate to is like, oh, chlorine. But just like
you're like, we had a pond out back. It had a waterfall and some
there was
floaties.
tiles surrounded it. It was lovely. So pond water. If you could smell pond water, you know what's going on.
That's that murky smell.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, definitely not chlorine.
Mm-mm.
Not only that, but Marcel's dog refused to get near this carving and started peeing in the house.
Oh, honey, that's sad. Leave the dog
That's
out of
awful. So soon Marcel is waking up and feeling watched, and then the doll starts moving by itself at night.
Oh, boy.
Marcel starts finding it in new spots each morning and smelling pond water at the same time. So when he started smelling pond water, he knew that meant the doll has moved.
Oh, no, it's very Pavlovian.
Yeah. Or like leaving a scent trail.
You could never
So-
like go back to any sort of body of water without being like, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
You could
Exactly.
only be in pools from now on.
If you got to have a smell associated with every movement you make, what would it be?
Lemon, citrus.
I walked right into that.
What
didn't
about
I?
you? Actually, I would say in reality, like a cedar, like a nice cedar smell, you know?
Is that your favorite smell?
I love that smell. Like kind of like a cedar pine, like wintry smell,
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
like a
Like the
Christmas
green
tree.
candles. The green
Yes, the
candles.
green
Oh,
spruce.
stop it.
I'm a
Stop it.
spruce. What about
You
you?
you shut up right now. Um,
You can have lemon.
no. I'm
No?
fine.
Okay.
Um, I don't know. My like you know what? Well, it's now I'm just listing my favorite smells.
I
Um,
think that's what we're both doing, so it's
okay.
okay. It's okay.
Well, it would not have any attachment to me though. Like no smell. Like what do you
Oh, like what would buy my like signature?
yeah, like what would
I
people know me as smell wise?
I mean,
Listeners weigh in.
listeners, yeah, what do you think M smells like? I guess
What do you
they
think I
wouldn't
smell like?
really know. This isn't smell-o-vision. Thank God, because I would probably just be sweaty.
I just always smell like deodorant. Like
Yeah, me too.
I mean, if I'm getting to like pick a smell, like I'm not gonna turn down the smell of like brownies in the oven, or like
See, I'm not a food smell type of person because then I'm like, but now I want the food. Like if the
I'm the
food's not
f-
there, then I get disappointed.
I'm the food version. I'm not the candle version of food, but I am the food version of food.
Right. Oh, got it. Okay, so you
Like
wouldn't be just like a fake smell of brownies. You'd be
no,
like, no, now there's literally brownies here. I
no, I
love
don't.
that.
Yeah, I would if I want it. I want to confuse you and make you fucking think there's brownies in the oven, and then
Well, that's just
you're
cruel.
like, well, I'd be a poltergeist probably. So
So you'd actually make the brownies for
no,
me.
no, I would
Oh.
just want to torture you.
Oh,
That's
you're
all.
just being cruel
Yeah.
intentionally. Got it.
Yes.
Okay. I should have
You know
known.
what? You know what's a good smell though, Christine?
What's
You know
that?
what's a great.
Tell me.
I have this
Tell me.
candle.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I have this candle.
Oh, say more.
It's grapefruit.
Ooh.
Ooh, it's grapefruit. And what is it? Oh, lavender and bergamot. Oh,
Where did you
oh,
get that? I want it.
it's divine.
Is it a
It's
Target?
divine. It is a Target. Of course.
Yeah, I gotta get that because I love my Target. I got a candle burning right now. My favorite Target candle is my cinnamon pumpkin muffin candle. Oh man, that's the best
Here's
Halloween candle.
here's a question for you when it comes to fall.
Mm,
Are you an apple scent or a pumpkin scent?
I think I'm more of an apple.
I'm an apple.
You
I'm an
too. I
apple.
feel like we had this conversation before,
don't
and we
care if-
both agreed for once.
I've never cared for pumpkin. Not
I'm not
I mean
even.
that one should keep its ears shut as I say this, but the little one behind me. But I don't
Oh,
care.
I'm like, who's behind me?
The
Okay.
pumpkin sitting next to me. No, I don't like pumpkin snacks. I don't like pumpkin smells. I don't like pumpkins. Carving pumpkins, I'd rather die. Like I'm
It's not
just
dramatic at all.
pumpkins are just
I mean,
we're
I'm
not
with you.
buddies.
I do like it. I'm not gonna lie, I do, and I like my pumpkin candle. But like, if I were to have to choose, I think I'd go the apple route for sure, or just
Mhm.
like this wood smells.
Ooh.
I don't know. I just listen. I love a. Sorry,
You know what Ooh.
Oriental Trading just emailed me that they're going to refund me all the money and reship everything.
Oh shit.
That's so nice. I emailed them earlier and I just saw it come in my inbox. Sorry.
Ask
What a
them if they
delight.
are like team apple or team pumpkin. They'll know what it means.
This poor person is like, that's not in my manual.
Okay. Anyway, wow, tangent time. Okay. Where were we? Oh, the smell of pond water. Jesus. Okay,
Oh,
so
right. The most delightful smell to be associated with.
right.
Wait, what do you think Eva would? What's Eva's signature smell? Or like, what do you think would be like a good fit for Eva,
That's a
since she
fun
can't be here to
question.
defend herself, even though she's listening?
Oh, yeah. Hmm. I feel like by her aesthetic, I would expect it to be some sort of incense. Like I feel like her house gives like
a warm,
calming,
like yeah,
or like a linen candle, like a something.
Oh, that's nice. To me, it's like a lime. Like maybe I'm thinking margaritas, like kind of like
Okay.
like a little eccentric, like a little bit of like something sweet.
See, I think maybe I'm associating calming things with Eva because she saves our ass all the time.
But
So
that's probably true too.
so I'm
I'm
just
like just
she smells
associating.
like a warm towel.
I
Like
just think of she smells like Paxil. Oh wait.
She smells like Zoloft, the bottom of a Zoloft bottle.
Which, by the way, is my least favorite smell, so I hope not.
No, I could see why you would think like a citrus, like a lime. I could see that.
Yeah, that's what I get, like, kind of a lime, like, tangerine, something, like, fun and fruity, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
Just
Mhm.
like she
Mhm.
is.
Sorry, Eva.
Anyway, it's a good thing, I swear.
Yeah, you don't smell like pond water, so relax, you know.
So calm down. Okay, she said, I'll take it, she says. Okay, good.
Um,
Fun and fruity pond water, she says. Okay, that could be you.
Ugh. Okay, so let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Pond water. Oh, okay. So every time he's smelling pond water, he's associating it with the doll moving. He's waking up every day and the doll's in a different
Don't
location
like
in
it.
his
Don't
house.
like it.
Soon he's waking up and he's feeling watched. And one night at 3 a.m., there's a knock on the door. And weirdly, the motion sensors out front did not go off, which
Hmm.
super duper freaks me out because now there's something just in the shadows.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also a knock that loud that will wake you up makes me feel like it's intentional and needs you to wake up, but now
Yeah,
is
it
still
knows
lurking.
what it's doing.
So the friend goes to not the friend, fuck. Marcel goes to check.
You do to find a replace.
I know. So Marcel goes to check and opens the door, but no one is there.
Mm.
But still he feels like he's just made a huge mistake, as if he has invited something in.
Oh, it's been banging on the walls, and now he's letting it in.
He went around and made sure that his house was locked, but freaked out, he calls Danny, who suggested that, hey, let's go out for a little bit and, take a drive or something to distract ourselves. When they get back to the house, everything feels a little calmer. Marcel goes to bed, but wakes up at 10 a.m. to his dog barking. His dog's barking. He gets up to see what's going on. And he realizes that in the hall, there are several muddy footprints on the floor.
Okay. Worst fucking nightmare.
Bear footprints, too.
Now, we're
That
not
freaks
talking
me out.
bear like the animal. We're talking
No.
B-A-R.
Can you imagine? That's its own adventure of
Bear, they're both nightmares, to be clear. They're both really scary.
Especially, where did the bear go? Is it, in the bathroom?
I know, but my dumbass would be like, what is that, a dog print? Like, I wouldn't even know it was a bear, so I'm, such an idiot. But you're talking bare feet. Like,
bare feet.
Okay, got
bare
it,
feet. Not there's a grizzly in this house.
And I think he ate my dog. I'm not positive.
If you survived a bear walking through your house and you just slept through that, you'd be like, either that was the dumbest bear or I'm the luckiest person.
Or I'm like, and your dog's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Oh, this poor dog.
Okay, no, bare feet. So they see muddy bare feet all over the floor, which is so much freakier for some reason, because if it's boots, you can assume, someone broke in. But if it's bare feet, did someone take their fucking shoes off to be clean and they were still covered in mud? Like, what's this about?
Covered in pond water, probably.
Oh, yeah, swampy, muddy.
Right? Like walking out of a pond. Ugh.
Ugh. Yeah, bare feet is so much more intimate and personal.
Yeah, it's bad.
So when he sees this, of course, he smells pond water again, and he knew that the doll must have moved on its own. So when investigating his house, he now hears heavy breathing around him, and he compared it to his grandpa who had a tracheotomy. Which,
what a pull.
What a specific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
could have just said heavy
many
breathing.
People can relate to.
You could have just said heavy breathing. But anyway, so he hears heavy breathing, freaks out, grabs the dog, heads for Danny's house. Danny lets them stay for a while, and freaked out while they're sleeping, Danny is now online trying to do some recon about what this could be.
Cool.
Danny finds out through literally, this has been 2016, so very apropos. He finds out on the paranormal subreddit.
Yes.
He makes a throwaway account called Wigged Hiker Throwaway, which like wigged out.
Oh, I was like, wow. Is that one of his hobbies? Okay, got it.
So he makes a post describing what's going on and states that his friend is thinking of burning this carving to end the issue. It's like, what should I do? Should we actually burn this thing? pretty much everyone immediately is like, do not burn that. That's a terrible idea. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
But they also couldn't come up with any alternatives. Some people were saying to throw it into moving water. Some were saying to just assertively tell this entity to stop and go away. Some people were giving contact information for paranormal experts. There was a whole bunch, but a lot of people also didn't even believe the story. And some actually thought that Marcel deserved it for taking the doll.
Okay. I mean, it's too late for that, but thanks a lot
It's like, thanks for your
for your
non-help.
input. Yeah.
So there was a lot of people who had different opinions about what to do, but mostly people said that you should take it back to where you found it, apologize, and then leave an offering and cleanse your own house. Which,
Okay.
that's fair advice.
Yeah, I could do
I'd
that.
start there. And however, a few days later, Danny comes back on the subreddit to post an update. And the update says, sorry I haven't posted. Things got worse yesterday night, so we sent the statue to a guy in the comments today.
Zach. It was called it's just called Back Zagans. It's the username. We don't know.
Throwaway.
Throwaway.
So far, so good. Thanks to everyone who actually tried to help and didn't just call us a couple of fucking idiots. Ooh.
Yeah.
So the guy in the comments, when I read that, I was like, did this guy fucking ask for it? How'd you have his address? What's going on? But this guy in the comments, his name was Greg Newkirk, and he left his contact information for Danny about having the doll sent
Wait a
to him.
second. Greg Newkirk, we were just talking to Roz about Greg and Dana. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. You know this already. Okay.
Though I was about in my very next.
Oh, okay. Because I have a tab open with their names so I don't forget. So I've been like looking at it every day, like, oh, I got to look them up. Because apparently they live in Cincinnati.
My very next bullet is Greg and Dana Newkirk. They co-curate the Traveling Museum of the Paranormal and Occult in Cincinnati, Ohio, and in Kentucky. So,
see, like, I didn't know that. And I'm like, how did I not know that? I got to reach out to them.
They also are consultants as paranormal experts for the TV show Finding Bigfoot. So, and the next thing I was going to say is that we have just been mutual friended with them.
Yes.
And so anyway, it was going to be an opening for you to talk about it if you wanted to. So that worked out very perfectly.
I love that. Sorry I burst in with
what? You've never done that before.
Greg. Yeah, I'm excited to hit because they also I think helped produce Hellier. And I think they've been on Astonishing Legends. I don't know. I feel like I definitely know of them. I just had no idea they were local, so now I can really, be a pest.
Yeah, especially because one of their friends told us that we could contact them. So
I got the go ahead. I have a permission slip from Roz.
Exactly. So anyway, it was perfect timing that I did these notes. So if you were looking for a sign to reach out.
Hilarious. Actually,
this is your sign.
I love that, Em. Yeah, I'm going to keep this tab open.
I was reading
reach out later.
I was reading my notes and I was like, get the fuck out of here. And
that is so weird. That is weird. The timing.
I'm glad you picked up on it. Otherwise, I was gonna be like, oh, I don't know if I should say anything. Okay, I'm glad you picked up on it. So,
Immediate.
Greg was the guy who commented on
that's crazy.
Danny's subreddit and said like, hey, if you need help with this carving or this doll, you can send it my way. Which means maybe we could see this doll.
Wait a second. That means I'm very close to that doll right now, by the way.
You're only like 2 degrees of separation from this doll.
I'm like 10 miles away, maybe. Yikes.
Look up the Traveling Museum of the Paranormal and Occult, and you'll see how far away it is from you.
Traveling Museum of the what? Paranormal
and Occult.
Visit. Where to visit? Events. Oh my god. It's in Fort Mitchell, Kentucky. Hold on. Let me see. From my house, that would be just about 6 miles.
Great. Well,
super.
Now
so
you know what you're doing after this.
15-minute drive there. Not too bad. I'm going to become a museum member is one of the tabs on here.
Oh, well, anyway, you have to.
Yeah, I have to. Hello. Like when you visit, we're going to have some activities to do.
Yes. Yeah. So, okay, they were they reached out to Danny. And Danny wrote back to Greg, and Greg said that Marcel should definitely put the figure back where they found it and apologize. Um, so Danny and Marcel agree, and Danny goes over to Marcel's house so they can, or Danny and Marcel both go back to Marcel's house because remember he ran away. The two of them go back to Marcel's house to grab the doll so they can start this going back to the cave and putting it away. But the dog won't go inside, and the doll is sitting in the middle of the hall. And next to the doll is a massive crack in the drywall, as if the figure had been thrown and crashed into the wall.
Now he has like a fucking deposit is gone too. This sucks.
They grab the doll, they apologize for even messing with it, and they were originally going to return it back to the cave, but they said it as they were apologizing, like, okay, now let's go back to the cave and, we're going to put you back. And they both immediately got this sense of dread that was the absolute wrong thing to do and to never go back to the cave. So outside of the house, the dog starts freaking out.
Poor baby.
They get up, and in the living room, they see an old, soaking wet, naked woman with glowing eyes.
Oh, fuck. What the fuck?
Danny and the friend race out of the house, and they realize that they forgot the fucking doll again. So they have to go...
Oh, these people.
So they realize they have to go back inside the house, and after a few minutes, they, get the courage to go back in there, and the woman's gone.
That's good, I guess.
Yeah. They apologize to the figure again, put it in a pillowcase, and then bring it... Instead of bringing it to the cave, they just send it directly to Greg. They're like, we don't even want to go into the woods with this thing.
Did you get like a pillowcase with a stamp on it? Like,
right
here.
They spun it really fast so it all twisted up by itself.
Yeah, there you go. Just tied a knot and toss it in the mailbox.
So this of this old woman, that is where the doll officially gets its name, the Crone.
Oh, lovely.
So when this doll got to Greg and Dana, they put her in their office, and by that night, they start hearing sounds in that room. They hear something and go check on it and find that one of their figures of Jesus ripped off of its own crucifix and was thrown across the room.
I was going to say, oh my Christ. That seems a little too on the nose. Wowza.
And ripped off so hard that one of the arms stayed on the crucifix. So now Jesus is armless.
Jesus
Christ.
Again. Jesus Christ.
Greg soon also starts having stomach issues that are so painful that he considers going to the ER. Which I guess that never happened, but they thought about going. And they put up a motion sensor camera in the office to keep an eye on the crone, on the doll. And eventually they catch it slightly moving on its own.
Mm-mm.
At one point, they're even live streaming video of the crone so other people can watch it at night.
Oh my God, that is totally my kind of lo-fi background music, and then just watching this crone figure on a live stream.
They said,
calm down.
I don't know if they still do it, but at one point the Queen Mary had a 24/7 surveillance camera in the pool for people to see.
More places need to do that.
I think
for
so.
my entertainment.
Zach Bagans has it in every inch of his fucking museum. It's so smart just to have footage and just have someone constantly checking.
And then somebody, it's crowdsourcing. Somebody will notice it even if you're not watching.
Wait, that's a very good idea, just to have something live streaming nonstop.
Why not?
So one viewer of this stream told Greg that she ended up having a nightmare later of a woman saying that Greg swallowed nails while he was sleeping, and this woman put the nails in his mouth.
Okay, so I said, what's wrong? What could possibly go wrong with a live stream? And here I am getting the answer.
Yeah, and so that made Greg think back to his stabbing stomach pains of
shit.
What if I symbolically swallowed nails? Also remember, nails were in the eyes of the doll.
Yes.
So it's almost like they're becoming one or something. I don't know. And so he wondered if the crone had something to do with all this.
Yikes.
Shortly after that, they begin to smell intense pond water.
Oh, no.
wet footprints start appearing in their home and on top of their furniture, which like
Ew.
that feels poltergeisty because I'm like, not even an alive human is usually walking on top of your furniture.
Yeah. Ugh.
Um, this is a quote from Greg. Haunted objects, like misbehaving children, tend to respond and retaliate to the attention given to them during tantrums, but our usual routine of ignoring the bad behavior was not working. Um,
Oh
so
boy.
I guess that was their original plan of like, oh, you can send this thing to us and we're going to ignore whatever happens until it goes away.
Until it
But
calms down. Now it's
yeah,
just escalating.
yeah. So Greg now tells the doll, uh, if we'd left you with the hikers, you would have found your way into a fire pit or a garbage can. If you found your way to a priest, you'd be bound and buried, or worse, locked on a dusty shelf for years. We're happy for you to live here, but only if you respect the situation. If you've got unfinished business, we'll help you put it to bed, but if you don't treat us respectfully, you're going in the box.
Now that's
So
called gentle parenting.
it feels like gentle parenting and
You're like,
also a
you know what? I'm
reminder
gonna
of
set a boundary.
yeah, I'm setting a lot of boundaries, and also you need to be grateful because we're being nice. Suddenly, they hear from another room huge amounts of water pouring down as if a pipe had just burst.
Oh shit.
They ran to the sound, and then the sound stopped out of nowhere as soon as they got to where they thought they heard it coming. Then they heard a thud, and the crone itself rolled off of a table on her own. She fell under a TV, so when Greg bent down to grab the doll, this was like all intentional for the doll to roll off the table and under the TV. Because then he goes and bends down, and the TV on its own starts falling forward as if to land on him and kill him.
Oh my god.
Luckily, Dana catches it before it hit Greg. But the lights start flickering, and the couple hears 3 big knocks on the walls, and Greg and Dana are officially fed up. They put the doll into a secure box, which is, they're following through on their boundaries.
That's exactly right.
And it's one of the very few items in their collection that almost all the time stays locked up. And it's also one of the only items in their museum that visitors cannot handle, which means you can handle a lot of stuff over there if you wanted to.
Okay, I hear it. I'm excited.
When visitors do see the crone at the museum, they often recoil from her, smell pond water, and feel their eyes burning. So in like 15 minutes, you're going to know for sure how you feel about this when you drive over?
After the break.
Yeah. Elevator music? No. So Greg, Dana, and countless psychics have different ideas as to the origin and purpose of the crone. Some say that it's an ancient Babylonian spirit. Others think that it could be a protective spirit meant to guard a ritual site. It could be a vengeful entity involved in a curse. In one article, Greg wrote that they don't know the intention behind the crone, therefore they may never understand it. And that is the Catskills Crone.
That one was creepy, the bare wet footprints on the furniture. Oh my lord.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It was a
Goose
quickie,
Cam
but it was a
City.
goodie.
It was. Oh, ew. I still have like goose cam on my neck.
Oh.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yes.
Ugh, I don't know. I was just gonna say, like, don't take stuff out of, like, I'm always the one who's tempted to do that. Don't take stuff out of, like, places you find them. Like, you know, like this.
I gotcha. Yeah.
Just like, don't, guys. Just don't do it.
I feel like if I saw something burnt into a shard and then had nails in its eyes, I'd be like, that one's not for me.
I know, but like, knowing me, I'd be like, but I want to take it home. And you'd be like,
you'd fucking think it's cute and like get emotionally attached to it.
Exactly. That's
You'd
exactly
be like,
it.
I can save him. He needs a home.
I'm like, he looks sad.
Yeah.
He looks so sad with those nails in his eyes. I want to take him home.
Well, I got nothing on that one, Christine.
Well, I've been weighing in my head whether to tell this part or not, but I guess I'll just put him on blast. My grandfather
Here we go.
My mom was going, I forget where she was going, to some town. It was either in Portugal or I think it was in Portugal. And my grandpa was like, before you go, can you do me a favor while you're there? And my mom was like, sure. and he literally gave her, this is not a joke, a bone.
No.
And he said, "Can you put this back in this certain basilica?"
Oh my
And
god.
so my mom had to go to the specific basilica because my grandfather had stolen a finger bone from a nun. And this is like
That's a
decades
okay.
ago.
Runs in the family, am I
I
right?
know, I know. And my mom was like, then I had to go and find this place and make some excuse to be taken down to the catacombs. I was like, holy
Like,
shit, what?
by the way, I can't even imagine if your mom did it smoothly or just directly said, "My father stole a finger from a nun, so here."
Honestly, she probably did it that way. I wouldn't blame her either. Like, what?
Like,
You
what
didn't say lie for
Mission
me.
Impossible way do you get down into the catacombs?
To be fair, she has done that quite often. We'll be somewhere and she's like, you just have to look like you know what you're doing. All this is alleged and it's not real, and I'm not going to get arrested. So don't try. But basically, we'll go to somewhere and she'll be like, I'm like, there's a rope or a sign. She's like, I don't care. And she'll just like walk
I feel like
past it.
you just have to like the only thing stopping most people is social anxiety. Like
Yeah,
it's the
right.
fear of being told like it's the fear of being caught and being told you have to leave.
And being in that like shame moment. Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't have shame, you can get away with a whole lot.
That's actually what it is. I think I have so much shame and my mom has like zero. And so when I'm with her, I'm like, whatever.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah,
do
yeah,
what you
yeah.
say. And yeah, so we've gotten into a lot of catacombs and sometimes they literally just have the skeletons on display and you're like, okay.
That's
So
wild.
yeah, so anyway, my grandfather took a finger bone and then I guess like decades later he was like, I just don't think that was a good idea. And everyone was like,
Yeah, like what
yeah,
was
no
going on?
shit.
Was he having things follow
You
him or
know, I
something?
don't know. I think my mom just I think my mom said he just was getting older and was like, starting to weigh my like pros and cons of my
Oh,
actions in life.
like am I
Like,
going to hell or not?
yeah, like maybe this is not it, you know?
Because something must have happened, or he must have always felt a little guilty. Because if I stole something decades ago, I
Yeah.
wouldn't even remember
You
it
wouldn't know where
too.
it was. Yeah.
Yeah, so something must have been happening for him for it to stay on his mind,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
wonder. I'm gonna ask her for more because of knowing her, she just like forgot to tell me that like also a poltergeist was happening at the same time.
Also, the
Um,
power move of like taking a finger, like it's not like, oh, you were digging around in like a local park and accidentally found something. Like,
yeah, it's
did he
like you
rip it
just
off of a hand? Like,
yeah, it was just sitting out like as a display. I
oh my god, that's
don't
like, does he
know.
go to museums and steal fossils? Like,
I mean, probably. I don't, I don't know.
that's
But I
bananas.
am not putting any dinosaur bones back for him because I'm not about to get in trouble.
Right.
Like you can deal with the consequences, sir. Um, I have a tale for you today. This is a murder called The Murder of Julia Martha Thomas, also known as the Barnes Mystery. And this, as yours was a shorty and a goodie, this one is an oldie but a goodie. This
Hmm.
takes place in the late 1800s, late 19th century. It is about a woman named Kate Webster. She was actually born Catherine Lawler in Killane County, Wexford, Ireland, around 1849 or 1850. And this was in the midst of English colonial rule, during which the devastating Great Famine, otherwise known as the Potato Famine, took
Hmm.
place. And that is when the English government, official in charge of relief efforts, decided to pull back on government aid and, starve the people to death with the
Mhm.
following quote: "The judgment of God sent the calamity to teach the Irish a lesson."
Yeah,
Cool,
okay.
love that. Gotta love it.
Whew.
What a piece of shit. So this was all going on, and in just 7 years during this time, the combination of death and emigration out of Ireland saw the country lose a quarter, 25% of its population. That's how
Holy
devastating.
shit.
Yeah, it was really, really, really devastating on the population. And so, obviously, as you can imagine, during this time, many people did what they had to do for survival. And Kate was no different. She became a petty thief as a child to make a living to survive.
Mhm.
And she was imprisoned in Wexford at 15 years old for larceny. And once she got out, she stole money to take a ferry to Liverpool, England. And when she arrived, she continued to steal for survival there as well.
Mm.
When she was 18, she wound up in prison once again, this time for 4 years. And Kate told people that she was married to a sea captain at one time, which is where she got her last name. But historians are pretty sure she just made up a fake last name and changed her
And a
name
story.
and made up a story. Precisely. She also said she had 4 children with this sailor who all died, including the sailor. And as
Oof.
tragic as that is, we're pretty sure that's not true and that she made it up
Oh, okay.
to give herself like a false backstory and kind of
Well,
create this
but
new
also
identity.
it also probably wasn't that uncommon. Like that to us sounds like a terrible backstory because like not only could we fact check it now, but like that
Right.
just never happens. Like what would the odds be? But back then, I think it was easier for kids to just
Yeah,
die.
I think it's definitely possible. And if it is true, obviously very tragic. It's just that the number of times that she changed her name and her stories
Sure,
kind of point to like this was probably just another,
sure.
especially because she had been in prison in jail for most of this time. So like where
Mm,
when did you have 4 children? Where are they? Like I
totally
don't
makes
know. It just
sense.
didn't really add up. People believed her because why not? But looking back, people are pretty sure this Captain Webster never existed.
Got it.
So after her release, she moved around England doing domestic work, and eventually she moved to Notting Hill,
Hmm.
which I obviously know as one of my favorite VHS tapes growing up. And she moved in as a cook and housekeeper, where she met a man named Strong.
Oh,
And
what
I
a
know.
manly name.
She thought so too, because they had a son together in April of 1874. But unfortunately, Strong walked out on Kate and her son, their son. And so she resorted to thievery once again to survive. Now, she was in and out of prison over the years. And while she was in prison, her friend Sarah Crease would take care of her son, whatever she was, MIA,
Yeah,
AKA in
what a
jail.
homie. What a homie.
Yeah, I know. You got to have somebody like Sarah around if you're going to be in and out of jail. So, in May of 1875, she was sent to prison on 36 charges of larceny, and she served 18 months and then was immediately sentenced to another year for a different crime. And by
Dang.
1879, January of 1879, Kate was finally free again. And this is when she met a woman named Mrs. Julia Martha Thomas in Richmond, London. I had to Google it because I was like, Richmond, Virginia? No, no.
Now.
So, not quite. Julia was in her early 50s. She was twice widowed, and she's described in several sources as eccentric, but nobody like explains any further what kind of eccentric. And I
Okay.
feel like that's pretty vague.
And also,
So,
we both know that eccentric was like
oh,
a bless your heart when I was growing up.
yes,
So,
it's like a backhanded, like kind of, yeah,
which
yes,
like
exactly.
were you artsy or were you just like the local weirdo?
Were
You
you like a
know?
loner? Were you,
Yeah.
yeah, there's something, or did you like, yeah, wear funky glasses? Who
Right.
knows? But she was some combination of the above because people described her as eccentric, but she was really popular. People really liked her at church. Her relatives, her family was really close with her. And she wasn't particularly wealthy, but she did have enough money, enough finances to hire a maid. And so she decided to hire somebody, a young woman, to work for her. And Kate, who had been living under several aliases trying to find work, stepped up to her doorstep and seemed to fit the bill. Kate thought, this is perfect. I'll live in this nice house, and I'll work for Julia and like make a good living. But pretty immediately, Kate showed that she was not very good at being a maid.
Oh
They
boy.
did a little, yeah, this
Amelia
is like
Bedelia.
legit. This is like how I would be. It was like she's spilling stuff, dropping things, bumping into cabinets. I mean, it's like how I would try so hard and just be a colossal failure at this kind of work. I mean, I can't even keep my own house clean. But so Julia was a little bit frustrated, like, I don't think this is what it's supposed to be like hiring a maid. And according to her, Kate spent way too much time at the pub and was actually an alcoholic and not enough time working and was just drinking instead of working. And when she did work, it was careless. Julia was disappointed. So a few weeks into Kate's service, Julia gave her final notice and said by February 28th, you're out of here. That's your last
Mhm.
day. Kate didn't take that news very well. As her last day approached, she started to become more and more hostile. And Julia said, is it hostile or hostile?
I think it's like a vase or
Either
vase.
or. Okay. Is it vase or vase? Is it foyer or foyer? Help me. I'm
Yeah,
spiraling.
I say
Okay.
hostile.
Okay, me too, obviously. She became hostile. So Julia said she felt unsafe with Kate at her home, and sometimes she even had her church friends stay the night because she was so
That's so
nervous
sad.
around her maid. I know, it's like she hired this woman, now she like can't get rid of her basically. So on February 28th, Kate comes up to Julia and says, I know this is my last day, but I haven't found a new job. I have nowhere else to go. Please, can you just let me stay the weekend? So we don't know if it was out of fear or sympathy, but Julia
Mhm.
unfortunately agreed and said, okay, fine, you can stay over the weekend until March 2nd, and then you have to be out of the house.
Sure.
So March 2nd was a Sunday, and in the morning before church, Kate and Julia got into an argument before Julia left for the church service. Kate had Sunday afternoons off between morning church service and evening church service, and Julia went to both. So Kate had to be home prior to each service to help Julia get ready.
Okay.
It sounds like she was sort of also like a doubling as a lady's maid, which is like the person
Right.
who helps your
But
hair and helps you
but
dress.
buttons your corset.
Buttons your corset, exactly. Puts ribbons in your hair.
Mm.
And so she had to be there to help her get ready for both of these church services. So Kate started the afternoon visiting her son at Sarah Crease's home where he was being taken care of, and then she headed to the pub and got pretty drunk.
She got
She
silly.
got you just got a little silly, and she got home late, which agitated Julia even more, and they got into another argument before Julia then left for the evening service. So at church, Julia's friends noticed that she was very upset, and she actually ended up leaving before the service even ended, which like never happened. She always was a loyal church going lady and always stayed till the end. Today, she was so distraught that she left early. When she got home, she and Kate got into another disagreement, but this time it really, really escalated. Apparently, in the heat of the argument, Kate pushed Julia down the stairs.
Ooh.
And when Julia landed at the bottom, Kate could tell she was badly hurt and she began screaming in pain.
Oof.
But Kate didn't want Julia to alert the neighbors and have her sent back to prison. So she ran down the steps, and in order to silence her, she strangled Julia to death.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Wow.
So Kate later described this as a crime of passion and that during, the heat of her anger and rage, she had shoved her down the stairs. And so this was like a in the moment kind of thing. However, what Kate ended up doing with Julia's body was so twisted that it's hard for people to believe there wasn't at least some premeditation or like some
Personal
delight
element.
she got out. Yeah, like something she got out of it.
Okay. Because up until now,
Because
I was even gonna say, oh, well, she came back from the pub and she was like all, twisted. So like maybe like
yeah, she just
she
got like worked up and
yeah, okay, but sounds like that's gonna my opinion's about to change.
yeah. So I mean, I could believe that this part could be an act of, like in the heat of the moment, but it seems like she had it out for her further than that because what she decided to do
Mhm.
is get herself a razor, a meat saw, and a carving knife. And she decided to first decapitate Julia and then completely dismember the rest of her body.
Oh my god.
So she burned several of Julia's organs to dispose of them, and then she used an
Burned wait.
enormous.
Sorry. Burnt individually burned her organs?
Yeah.
So had to gut her to pull out each
Uh-huh.
organ.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's very okay. Keep going.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. So dark. So she burned several of the organs. Then she used an enormous copper pot, which was usually used to like boil laundry,
Mhm.
to boil the rest of Julia's body down into like a fat.
Hmm.
So grotesque.
Okay.
Afterward, Kate put the remains that she had in a box, except for Julia's head and one foot, which
Okay.
one source says there wasn't room in the box. We don't know why, but most of it went into this box, and her head and her foot were left behind. Kate then spent several days scrubbing the house top to bottom in an effort to cover evidence of her crime, and it was a very bloody situation she had to clean up.
Sure.
She disposed of the foot in a garbage pile, and then she put Julia's head in a black bag, which she carried with her to visit some friends from a previous job.
Oh my God.
Their name, it's a family called the Porters, and she just stops by with this black bag, and she's like, "Oh, hey, howdy do? What's going on with you? Life's good." And she was wearing one of Julia's nice dresses. So she had gone into her closet and taken
Mm.
out one of her dresses, went to the Porters and said, "Oh, the saddest thing happened. I have an aunt and she passed away, and she left me in her will her beautiful home." And they believed it because, I don't know, they
Why?
didn't have any
Yeah.
reason not to.
Yeah.
And so Kate said, but I would love to move back to Ireland. So I'm trying to sell the house with everything in it. Can you help me? And they were like, sure, we can introduce you to some people who might want to buy a house or who might want to help you sell the house. So they're walking around town together, like stopping in pubs, chatting with people. And Kate says, "Oh, Mr. Porter, do you mind carrying my bag every
Oh
now
my
and then?
God.
Because it's a bit heavy." And so he's just walking around town carrying her
With a
bag for her
head.
with Julia's head inside it. He obviously had no idea.
That's even
Ugh.
sorry, that's even m I understand what I'm saying here, it's all crazy, but that's even more wackadoo than, like, the dismembering. And because I originally thought, like, oh, maybe she was, like, really drunk, and, like,
Mm,
even, like, obviously doing all that to a body, like, exceeds being drunk, but at
mm,
least that could have been an element, I guess. But this is, like, days later, she's wearing the dress, she's carrying a
right.
fucking head around, she's, like, enjoying someone else, like, the risk of someone else finding out that there's a
Yes.
head in her bag.
Yes.
Like,
That's exactly where it turns from like, oops, this was an accident to like, wow, you are milking this for all
yeah.
it's
And
worth.
also, like, I don't know how, like, dismembered heads work, but is she not worried about, like, blood coming out of that thing
I
and, like,
know.
dripping everywhere?
I wonder if it since it had been several days, if maybe that just oh, I don't know, or the smell. I mean, I'm not
The
trying to be
smell.
gruesome, but like, ugh.
Anyone could have been like, "Oh my god, this bag is heavy. What's in it?" Like,
Yeah.
or, "Hey, can I put something in your bag?"
Yeah,
Like,
like, "Oh, do you mind holding this for me?" Exactly. So, yeah, apparently he later did say it was very heavy, and, he just helped her carry it 'cause they would take turns carrying it.
mm,
Ugh, it's just so dark, and so at some point, Kate was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go see a friend real quick," and, she came back without the bag, and they were like, "Where'd it go?" I mean, nobody really asked, they were just like, "Huh, that's weird, she came out with the bag without she came
right,
back
right,
without
right.
the bag now, so she's bagless." Then Kate said, "Oh, anyway, I'm back from seeing my friend. So, Mr. Porter, your son, Robert, I'd love to chat with him." So she gets Mr. Porter's son, Robert Porter, to help her with some stuff back at her house, which is Julia's
Mhm,
house that she's claimed is now hers.
mhm.
And she brings him back and says, "Hey, I have this box. It's really heavy. Can you help me carry this box? To a bridge over the Thames because I'm meeting someone there and this box is for them, but it's just really heavy." So obviously, this is a box of Julia's remains, and
Mhm.
she has Robert carry this to the bridge. And then she says, "Okay, anyway, thanks a lot. You can go now." And as he's walking away, he hears a loud splash, which he later realizes was Kate dumping it
Dumping
off
dumping
the
it.
side of the bridge. Yeah. So the box, she wasn't very bright in this way because overnight it washed ashore. And the next morning, a man discovered the remains near the Barnes Railway Bridge. But the body did not have a head. And so Julia could not be identified. And on top of that, no one knew she was missing because there was no reason to know she was missing.
Right.
And so the newspaper just reported this as the Barnes mystery because the remains had been found near the Barnes Railway Bridge.
Mm.
So Kate worked fast, selling everything out of Julia's house. She was just trying to make cash off all the stuff in the home, and she began wearing Julia's jewelry and clothing, basically took on her identity, and she started calling herself Mrs. Thomas, which was Julia's
Oh,
name. Yeah. And
wow. It's gone real. It's spiraled fully.
it's too, yeah, yeah, yep. I think even she can agree this is like way too far. And the next bullet point I have here, which, like, duh, is that the people who knew Julia were like, is that Julia's maid calling herself Mrs. Tom? Like, what's
Right,
happening? You know, like
right.
people in town knew her. So it's just kind of a weird con
It's
that
also
isn't
like
going to work.
it's not even like grabbing all of Julia's like candles and shit and like putting it in a box and then going somewhere to another town to sell it. It's
Yeah.
like if I like I feel like half my stuff, if it got sold to you, you'd be like, "Em has this exact same thing."
That's so weird, but I'll take it for $5.
Right,
No,
right, right.
it's true. And apparently, one of the neighbors literally noticed people carrying items out of the house
Oh my
and got
god.
suspicious. Like, duh, you know? So people definitely noticed pretty quickly. And to top it off, poor Robert Porter read the newspaper article about the Barnes mystery and said, "This sounds a lot like the box I helped Kate carry to the bridge the other day."
Mm.
So he's like, wait a minute. Uh-oh, I think I see what's happening here. So several people go to the police with their suspicions about Kate, and investigators pretty immediately search Julia's house. That is where they collect charred bones, an axe, a razor, and a handle that had broken off the box Kate dumped in the Thames.
Those weren't the
And
first things she tried to sell, and like also the charred bones, like I thought she got rid of all the
I thought
evidence.
she got rid of the evidence. Apparently not. Like,
I the
it was
first thing
pretty easy to pin it on her.
the first thing I would have done is been like, "Oh, Mr. So and so, here's a saw that I don't need anymore. Would you like this saw?" Like,
Yes.
or leave it in the woods or something.
Or
Like,
saw off the bridge, or,
yes,
it really was not. And then she's flaunting her dresses and jewelry around town and calling herself Mrs. Thomas. I mean, it was sort of like someone was gonna notice pretty quickly.
yeah,
And they did, and they were like, "Well, we know who did it. Obviously, it was Kate." So they release a description of her, and they call for her arrest. So meanwhile, Kate had fled. She had taken her son back to Ireland, but police caught up with her pretty immediately. They knew she was from Ireland. They went there, picked her up at the end of March. And unfortunately, this also had bad ramifications for Irish immigrants throughout the UK because at the time, based on that early description of the Great Famine, anti Irish sentiment was at an all time high. And Kate, unfortunately, seemed to fit every negative stereotype that many English people held about Irish immigrants, such as
mm,
drinking too much, being lazy, being rude, being a thief, and so she kind of ticked all those boxes. And so people like ate up the story and felt sort of like, oh my gosh, this sinister Irish immigrant woman murdering her well-to-do English employer.
right.
Like they just loved this story. And so this was like political fuel also for English media to use for its agenda. And, obviously true crime is just compelling in general, but especially in the Victorian period, they were obsessed with crime. I mean, Spring-Heeled Jack, Jack the Ripper. Not sure why
Right.
they're all called Jack, but this was like the time where people were fascinated by these kinds of stories.
If podcasting was out in those
Yeah,
days,
this would have been a humdinger.
we
Yeah,
this would be an
this
old industry we're in.
this would be like a timely episode instead of 150 years later.
Yeah.
Um, So, it was also very salacious that Julia Thomas's killer was a woman. Like, this was not a
Hmm.
common thing. This was, a twist on normal gender roles. And so, it's just a shocking headline and people ate it up. And apparently they sold hundreds of thousands of papers with this story. So gossip exploded. Some papers reported that Kate had saved the fat after boiling Julia's remains and had given it away as gifts as lard, claiming it was
Mm.
pig lard. There's no actual evidence to support that. So it was kind of dismissed as just like fabrication, but we're not
Well,
100% sure.
wasn't there that woman who was a murderer and she sold
Yep.
people's fat as soap?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
I mean, it's
It's
happened before.
possible. Yep, it's possible. And so some people claim that really happened. In the TV shows I watched, like Snapped, they definitely play that up. And she's like, here's some big lard, you know. But it's traumatization, you know, at its finest. So it's hard to say if that was actually real or just a good plot point. But it's disturbing either way. And so, you know, when the trial commenced, this had become international news. Wealthy people and aristocrats fucking loved this story because it was like, now we're getting revenge for this Irish immigrant, like killing one of our own. You
Right.
know, this well-to-do woman didn't deserve this. So the court audience was mostly wealthy people and aristocrats. And Kate pretty much spent the whole trial denying any part in the crime. She blamed like several other people, including Strong, the father of her child, which didn't really make
Hmm.
any sense. And so the jury was like, we're not buying it. She blamed
Right.
like three different people, then took it back and said, well, I still had nothing to do with it. It was pretty obvious she was lying. And so the defense basically all they could argue is that, hey, you have no proof that that body is Julia's. There's no
Oh,
head. You have no proof. And that was their argument. And it was true, obviously, but Julia was missing, and Kate was wearing her clothes and jewelry and selling her belongings and calling herself Mrs. Thomas.
yeah. We're like
So,
99.99% sure.
yeah, exactly. So the jury was like, that's all well and good, but we're convinced and she's guilty. So in just under an hour, Kate was sentenced to hang.
Hmm.
And she first, fun fact, claimed she was pregnant, which would have commuted her sentence. And so she was examined by something called a jury of matrons. Now,
Okay.
this is a fun fact. A
Okay.
jury of matrons was apparently a jury made up of women with relevant expertise who essentially served to examine convicted criminals who claimed to be pregnant to decide whether or not they were.
Okay.
Very specific job title.
Like a
And
league of
apparently,
mothers.
yes, it is. It feels like almost vigilante, the name of it, but apparently they held like some serious authority that women did not have at the time because their ruling was final. So they basically had the power to commute executions. And
Wow.
for women to be able to do that was just unheard of in like such a patriarchal legal system.
I also
And
appreciate that for some reason at this point in history, they were allowing women to make decisions about women.
yeah,
Eh,
for once, I know.
Instead of like, today, like you don't even have to have a uterus, but you get all the opinion.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
It's like they knew where they stood and they brought other people in, more
Who
experienced
actually knew
people.
about women's bodies, right?
Yes, they
Exactly.
they brought in prominent sources. Yeah.
I love that. I mean, I imagine it's because the men were like, "Gross, we don't wanna check if she's pregnant." But
Right.
still, it's nice to see that at least women were involved. And apparently this system actually existed for centuries until it was abolished in the 1930s, so it was around for a while.
Oh wow.
And unfortunately for Kate, the matrons found that she had been lying, she was not pregnant, so her sentence remained.
Mhm.
Before her execution, she finally confessed to a priest, but the way she described it as just like a crime of passion did not add up. There were some reports that Kate had even used an axe in the final killing of Julia, which
Oh.
also, you know, would not have fit with like just pushing her down the stairs. And whatever the truth was, we'll probably never know because it died with Julia and Kate. And when Kate was hanged, executions were no longer public. And she was actually even given more privacy because she was a woman. So how kind of
Okay.
them to
Yeah,
finally give
that's
women
nice.
some sort of benefit when they're executed.
Yeah,
Uh,
right.
wow, so thoughtful. So reporters were not allowed to attend the way they apparently would a man's execution. And Kate was only the second person to be hanged at the prison. And by the final execution, which took place in the mid 20th century, she actually remained the only woman ever executed there. Fun fact.
Oh, fun.
Fun. It's a M fun fact.
It is, yeah.
So when the prison started reusing old graves for future executions, they actually left Kate's grave alone because she was a woman and they didn't They didn't disturb women's graves. It's
What
just such
a
a weird backwards, like, sexism. I don't know. I don't know what
yeah.
to describe it as, but
I
it's like, thanks?
yeah, it's like yeah, it just feels like a backhanded compliment every time.
Yeah.
I don't
It's
know
like
how else to
you
describe it.
killed her, but that's so thoughtful of you to let her rest in peace? Question mark. It's
Yeah.
just odd. I don't totally understand it, but I guess that was how they rolled. So anyway, after Kate's execution, there was still a mystery to be solved. Where, oh where, is Julia Thomas's head?
I was gonna say because she had it in a bag and then left it somewhere.
Yep, yep. This
They
gets
couldn't. They didn't ask her before they killed her.
They did. She
Oh,
just
oh,
refused to reveal. She
oh.
refused
Okay.
to reveal where it was because, again, her defense team was like, "Oh, we're just gonna say that's not Julia's body, so
Right. It's just a
definitely don't
random
tell them where the
body.
head is." Yeah. So, for 131 years, Julia's remains were incomplete and were
Oh
never fully verified as belonging to her. In 2009,
my
do you
god.
know who Sir David Attenborough is?
Yes.
Okay, good. He, like, narrates Planet Earth. He has that kind of, like, "Oh, the
Okay. Keep
mother
going.
chimpanzee." I don't know. He has, like, that British
Like
accent. He sounds very intelligent and,
David
like,
Attenborough. Yeah.
David Attenborough. Yeah, he has a very, like, highfalutin accent, and he does all the nature shows, and it's just very, I don't know. He has a soothing voice. So this guy, Sir David Attenborough, who, yeah, narrates Planet Earth, etc., he decided to expand his backyard, and so he
Oh.
bought an old pub called the Hole in the Wall, which was located behind his house, and he was like, "I'm going to use this property to expand my yard." I imagine he, being the a host of Planet Earth, needed some more greenery in his life,
Sure.
I suppose, and so in October of 2020, excuse me. So in October of 2010, a construction crew was excavating the earth to expand his property, and they found a skull. And it took detectives 8 months using modern forensics and historical research to determine that this was Mrs. Thomas's head.
Wow.
And finally, her cause of death was officially ruled as strangulation and head trauma. This is 131 years after she had been killed. And now we're able to use the evidence to kind of conclude that Kate disposed of Julia's head beneath the stables of the pub, which was close to Julia's house. So presumably, when she said, "Oh, I have to go see a friend real quick," she went into the stables of a nearby pub and disposed of the bag and the head
Hmm.
underneath the stables. And that is where it lay for 131 years until Julia's identity could finally be completely, you know, acknowledged.
Science. Science is fucking crazy.
Science is
How
amazing.
how did how on earth without DNA evidence from 130 years ago, how did they know it was her? I believe you, but like
I have no
how?
idea. I have no idea. I'm no scientist.
Oh
I know
my
it's hard to
god.
believe. But
No,
yeah,
well,
yeah, and well, I mean, they also knew where her home had been. They knew I mean, I'm not sure, but I'm sure they could tell that this head had been decapitated off of a
mhm.
body, so they probably were able to,
Right.
make that leap. But yeah, that is the story. I it's just so bananagrams that, like, Sir David Attenborough's like, "I guess I'll do some renovations."
It's always
Oh,
wild that like anyone could find a like
yeah.
a decapitated head, but then like for it to be someone that everyone knows, it just feels like even rarer. Like what are the fucking
Right?
odds
It's
of that
so
happening?
random. It's so random. And, like, what are the odds that he would buy the property next door and then decide to expand, take down the building over there? It's just so, like, the machinations of setting that up over time, like,
Imagine
history, crazy.
imagine if he did a documentary on that cold case and then he went, "But at the end, I
Oh!
found the head."
And then he steps into frame like, "Yes. It is
It
I,
was me all
Sir
along.
David
Yeah.
Attenborough. And then he's in his, like, little English garden having tea.
Yeah, right here,
Man.
right where I sit. Yeah. Yeah.
Watch.
Yeah.
Watch as I have a sip of my chamomile. Anyway, that's that.
Wild.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow. That is crazy. And also, I'm pretty sure that whole story passes the Bechdel test because, like, I didn't hear about a man for quite some time.
Great fucking point. Even when Kate was like, "Oh no, it was this guy and this guy." Like that didn't even stick.
Yeah. Hmm.
Nope. I'm gonna
Wow.
send you a couple pictures that I have here. Hold on.
Of
Just
what?
some.
The head?
No, God, no.
David Attenborough.
Uh, of Planet Earth. I just really love some. Have you ever seen where Snoop Dogg like narrates Planet Earth scenes?
Yes. Yes.
It's the best. It's the
You know,
best.
when I was in high school, my boyfriend at the time, all he
Oh, that
ever
doesn't feel right.
nope. All he ever wanted to do, he'd be like, "Come over to my place," and we would just sit and watch Planet Earth while he got stoned. That was
I mean, as a newcomer to, you know, the lifestyle, I get it now. Like,
yeah.
wow. Like I used to watch Planet Earth and just be enamored as it is. But like, you add that in and it's like,
It was like
holy shit.
every Friday night he was like, "Let's get stoned and watch Planet
I
Earth."
love that for him. Did you just sit there?
I just fucking sat. I didn't even like Planet Earth that much. I was
You
like,
didn't even like boys.
none of it was fun. I was just sitting
Like
on the
I
couch.
pretended to like a lot of things for crushes, but you didn't even have that go. He didn't even have
So
that going for him.
his room was in the basement and he had like turned it into like this like actual like a really cool party pad. And so I would just like walk around and like mess with his stuff while
Oh,
he
okay.
just
So
sat
you
there
could
on the
still
couch.
like have a good time and like do your own thing.
He had like his like old I Spy books from when he was a little kid, and so I would just
No, those. If
play
I
the
got
I
high and
Spy
did that, I
books.
think my brain would explode. But I used to love those books.
Anyway, anytime I hear Planet Earth, I'm like, ugh, I just like I'm sure it's lovely, but I associate it with being so fucking bored. Like
That's kind
so
of hilarious because I remember like they would play it at school and I would be like, "Joke's on you. I love this show." Like
yeah,
everyone would be
yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Boring." And I was like, "I'm actually so into this right now." Oh, good
Ah,
times, good times.
well,
Oh, wait, I forgot to
uh
send you the photos. Here they are.
oh,
It's just like a newspaper clipping, and then like they would do these like kind of gruesome like recreations. Like they would draw the hanging like right
mm.
before they were hanged. I don't
Oh.
know. It's kind of gross. It's like
Oh, like
grotesque.
because back then like you had to draw the
There weren't
picture for it to be in the
photographs for the
newspaper.
newspaper, exactly. But like reporters weren't even allowed, so I imagine they had to just imagine what it looked like, which is
Right,
also a
yeah.
weird fucking thing to do.
Yeah, so on the front page, it's a drawing of her execution, but if they weren't there, then they just
Yeah, they were
drew.
like, I imagine there were four white guys
Yeah, they just
standing
drew
around her
like,
with a rope.
my guess is as good as yours, but I'm the one that got hired to
Yeah,
draw it. Yeah.
but
It's
you
kind of
can't
like
draw, so here it is.
it's kind of like with the Lizzie Borden newspaper.
Oh
Um
yeah.
all of the articles about her murdering her parents, the pictures of her are like drawn portraits because
Weird.
they didn't have photographs back then. It was
They're like,
or
you know,
they
this woman, and people are like, oh yeah,
yeah, or they had photographs, but not like, they didn't have the budget for that, I guess. But they could
yeah.
afford a sketch artist for every other page. Anyway, wow, that was a topsy turvy story.
I gotta say, it was full of twists and turns, you know.
What does your shirt say?
Oh, it says Mamasaurus.
Oh,
So
that's
I
sweet.
got for Blaze's first Father's Day, I got him and Leona matching shirts. Hers says Leonosaurus and his says Daddy Rex or something like that. I
Oh
don't know.
God.
And they would always wear them. I know, it's something stupid. And they would always wear them to the museum together. And then the following year I got one and I was like, okay, but I'm like, thank you, Blaze, but I'm not wearing this like with you two together. Like you guys can wear your matching shirts, but like I'll wear
But
something else.
I don't believe you. I think all three of you like to wear matching outfits when you go out together. I think
I wish. I just don't have the balls for that. I'm sorry.
as soon as someone would like point it out, you'd feel so nervous and
I would be
embarrassed for the rest of the day.
mortified. Yeah.
What ending on a happy note, what's your current favorite outfit of Leona's that she can fit into?
Oh. Oh my gosh. I got her a little sweatshirt from Kohl's that says pumpkin. And apparently Lauren Conrad has a line of toddler clothing at Kohl's, fun fact, and
Oh my
it's
god.
all so cute and, like, fall neutrals, and, like, so I got her little maroon leggings with a little shirt that says pumpkin, but I
Aw.
also bought us okay, speaking of matching shirts, I bought us these shirts. Mine says, Momster, and hers says, oh my god, what does hers say? I like how I know what mine says because I've worn it so often. Uh, Let me make sure I find it. Christine. Oh yeah, her shirt just says "Little Monster"
Aw.
in like cute. It's like a light purple shirt with like lime green, like kind of
Ugh.
creepy writing. It says "Mama's Little Monster," and then my shirt says "Momster."
Dope.
Anyway, it's
Dope.
very cute. It's silly and dorky, but you know what?
Are you gonna take her to the pumpkin patch this year?
I haven't even thought about it, but yes,
Oh,
of
but you should make
course.
her wear the shirt that says pumpkin.
Wait, that's cute actually. Hang on. I
And then
like
the
that.
caption for your Instagram can be my favorite pumpkin in the patch.
God damn, you're like writing my whole life script now. I love
And
it.
then you can talk to Farmer Bob, you can get on a tractor ride, and you can be like, this is the
Aw,
beginning of Funkle M,
this
and
is
then
where it
mention me the
all
whole time.
began. And then every year she's like, "Mom, do we have to do the whole tractor ride where you met M thing again?" I'll be like, "This is a really special memory. I want you to be part of it. One day you'll appreciate."
Yeah. Oh, well, Farmer Bob and I say hi and we miss you.
Are you doing any fall stuff? I mean, obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Stupid question.
Honestly, you're just a big
So fucking embarrassing.
stupid dummy.
Stupid idiot
What was
dummy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's the thing that we were saying for a while? Was it idiot?
Oh yeah, because Renee used to say idiot, but when she really meant it, she would put like an emphasis on the last T, and it stung so bad.
Say it,
Idiot,
say it. Yeah.
you're such an idiot, and it was like whoa, because it wasn't like you're such an idiot. It was like you're such an idiot, and it
Yeah,
felt
it
like
cuts.
so cruel. Yeah.
It cuts. Well,
Mm.
I don't know how to end this.
Anyway, I like how we're like on a positive note. Anyway, um, well, I guess on a positive note, we can say we're gonna go do our and that's why we drink after hours
Yes.
chat. Do we have a topic? Do you have a topic? I forget.
Sure. I have a topic.
Oh, I was also going to eventually talk about oh wait, we already did active serial killers, didn't we?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, we'll talk something ghosty this time.
Okay, cool. And
Cool. That's
why
we
drink?